Facebook pretty soon. We're here on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to be live on Facebook. So if you're not on Facebook, check us out Wednesdays and Sundays. 5 p.m. on Facebook, the Hawaii Sports Fans Facebook. And now we're going to go live there. So, all right, we're live. The music is playing. I'm finally here. Hawaiian time. Sorry, it's 5:11. I know, I should have thought I'd be getting going a little bit earlier, but it's been a rough one today and every day as we keep living this same nightmare scenario of having no college football in 2020. If you haven't yet, please like our page at Hawaii Sports Fans. Mahalo. The reason I even started live streaming here, other than the pandemic, which we're going to talk about, was to get some more likes here on Facebook, because I don't think I get enough probably here at Facebook. For the last 8 years now, I've been taking people, rabid sports fans, and just casual sports fans, but just people that have great energy and love to have fun. They come with me to NFL games, to UH games, to Australia, to the Super Bowl. And I want to take you. So make sure you like us right here on Facebook. I'm almost at 1,000. We're almost at 1,000 likes. So pretty good, because I think there were like less than 800 when we started this live stream. So we're definitely getting there, and we're getting better. And now we're gonna get started. And big news today with the first, let's say, domino falling for UH at least, and by domino, or yesterday, and by domino I mean the financial ramifications that are going to come from not having football. And it's something we talked about, or I've been talking about for a little while, and I think even maybe we should go back and take a look at some of what we've been talking about on this show for the last 2 months. I see Gene just logged on. He was on Around the Wayne, and we talked about it then on COVID, and it's something for 4 months now. It's like, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? And now we're like, when is this going to end? And we're still saying that 4 months later, which is not good. But, let's just take a look back briefly at, what we talked about on this show, and just how deeply affected everybody is going to be. Let's take a look. The NFL is not even Power 5 football. Power 5 football is a lot of money. Power 5 football can do a lot of things and pay their coaches, $10 million a year and get away with it. But Hawaii football, may not be able to survive this kind of thing in terms of, and most programs at that level, in terms of how they are able to make it work, right? If you have to put a whole team in isolation and anybody that interacts with them totally away from each other, just as if we're still in a period where we're in pretty much isolation, which maybe we won't by the time August comes around. We might not be in a position to have 50,000 people, okay, let's be honest, right now 20,000 people in the stadium, but and any stadium, and if places like California are saying we're not going to let you hold events for probably another year, and of course this is not official, this is a leak that was in the LA Times, what does that say about the rest? It's like when one domino falls, everything else falls. We saw that happening. I saw that happening when first the Big West tournament, which was one of the first tournaments, we have to give credit to them, our basketball teams, to not allow fans in. But literally once all the dominoes started falling, the NBA canceled or suspended its season, and the other seasons fall. It's not going to be like you can just also be logical and real. And it's starting to get to the point where it's like, of course there's going to be mixed messages, especially if there's people, you're going to hear anybody from the SEC. Of course, the SEC would start football tomorrow. Like, they don't care. Obviously, it's the SEC. The SEC is not the Mountain West. The Mountain West, the AAC, the Sun Belt, and then all the FCS schools underneath. We're in trouble if we don't have football season. We're in big trouble if we miss out on a payday like that. Those paydays help to balance our books for the whole year, just those one games, like playing Michigan. Getting $1 million payday goes a long way for us to be able to cover operating costs, particularly when we have a... All right, well, that's just some of what we've been talking about. That was my second ever show. That was on April 15th, I think, or whatever I had back there. Then May 10th. A month later, the Oregon governor had made the announcement. So that was that long ago already. Back in May, 3 months ago, almost to the day, the Oregon governor pretty much eliminated any chance of having fans at the Oregon game, or at any game in the state of Oregon, which included the University of Hawaii game at Oregon. And that's why even back then when I talked about how the SEC, literally the same players who are still holding out, and by holding out I mean I really don't see football, period, but I mean if they think they can do it, it's going to be them. Like I said, they're the SEC. That's just what it is. But without being able to, I know some people are calling for a college commissioner for football. That's what the NCAA president is supposed to be. So that's why I talked about Mark Emmert a lot on that show. If you go back to that show on May 10th, Mark Emmert also made an announcement that day where he said that college football is going to have a common start date. And then he backtracked on that and said everybody can decide on their own. And that showed just how powerless he was, really. He just exposed himself and showed all his cards. And that's why college football has kind of run amok. And that's what the Power 5 has done. They're basically autonomous already in that they can, offer certain things but to their recruits and to their players. But that's also a fallout of them having so much money and getting all of this TV money and being able to hoard it and being able to, yes, spread it, hopefully, amongst all of their programs. I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence that you see some of these programs that have good football players or good football programs now. They, are good at everything else too, or they're like Baylor or something. I remember as a kid, I don't think Baylor football was like great, but now they're like good at everything. And that's because that money. I mean, that's been a big neutralizer for clearly a lot of the Power 5 schools, but that's also been something that separated them from us. And by us, I mean Mountain West and, the rest of the group of 5. But speaking of the group of 5, the Sun Belt has said today that they're going to go ahead and play. Oh, and there is my light. All right. See, that's the secret right there. I have a light on here so you guys can see me. But the Sun Belt, this is like the Colt Brennan interview. You should go back to the Colt Brennan interview. You haven't seen that one. It was pretty funny. He kept dropping his phone because we had to deal with the elements, the rain. And that's live. This is why live streaming is fun, because you don't get to go back and edit. You just got to do that right live. Like I just brought in that last video because I was like, I'm going to throw that in. Took it off my phone, brought it in. But that's how you got to do it sometimes. But the Sun Belt is planning on playing, apparently. Okay. I thought by today's show, of course on Sunday, we had already had the announcements and you saw me cry for 4 straight minutes that we don't have a season. But I had imagined that not only the Big 10 and the Pac12, who had already, so 2 out of the top 5 Power 5 conferences have now canceled the season or postponed the season. But now we are dealing with the fallout from, at UH at least, from not having the revenue from football, which supports all the other programs. I think men's volleyball was the only program that broke even or something or got close. So legit, like most of the programs, and at most schools it's the same way, because football by nature is a spectator sport. It's something, it's not like we all play football, but everybody loves football. Everybody, it's a part of like culture, and I talked about that. It's a part of our culture as people in Hawaii, but of people across the country, their traditions or customs on those fall Saturdays and Friday nights, and that's what football's all about. So it'll be a big difference. But on a more serious note, yes, it'll be hard. It's hard already as fans to be able to deal with the fallout of not having a season. But when you talk about now the loss of revenue, now stuff is going to start getting real, and it's tough. It's difficult because we don't want to see Dave Matlin, the AD at UH, does have a lot of cleaning that he's going to have to do, unfortunately. And, it's not going to be easy for him. And today, obviously, or yesterday, the news of Jeff Hall being released as a sand volleyball coach, that's just the beginning. Unfortunately, that's just the beginning. And that's sad, and we send our aloha out to him. We got to go watch the Wahine. I'm glad on a Hawaii Sports Fans trip, actually. Big West Tournament Tour. Which one was that? 2018, I guess. 2018, they were playing at Manhattan Beach, so we got to see the Sandbows play. That was really cool on a Hawaii Sports Fans trip. It started raining. We were on the pier in Manhattan Beach. We were on the sand. It's pretty fun. See, all those little adventures we get to do when you're with Hawaii Sports Fans. But Jeff Hall was really gracious, and it was nice to be able to talk to him and walk up to him. And it's such a different experience, going to those sand volleyball games. But that's just the beginning. I mean, to be quite frank, and I try to be on this show because I want to be as honest as I can. But I'm almost surprised that the program itself hasn't been totally cut. And the only way that I can see the program staying afloat now is probably to get rid of any scholarships that they had for that program and just use, I shouldn't say just use, as if indoor players, I played indoor volleyball, and sand volleyball is way different. Like, it's a totally different game. But I could see the program starting to really integrate as just one basic program. So that'll save a little bit of money, but even calculating what costs UH has on the books this year, Jeff Hall's salary was like 2% of that. So that's not going to be clearly enough. And even if you add in, that's 2% of just the coaches' salaries, right? So if you add in, the fact that we don't have to pay travel subsidies, which is good, so that just brings back another $2 million. But I think it's really scary, and it is. And we talked about this for a long time, how dangerous we are right now in a place that some programs don't survive. I graduated from college in the last recession, and I worked in athletics as well, actually, and interned and worked my way up, and I saw firsthand a lot of programs going. I see Candy just is watching now. Hi, Candy. And Candy's a former Division II student athlete at Notre Dame Denny Murrow. I don't know, they might have been NEI then or whatever, but she's an awesome volleyball player, and it's sad because her program doesn't even exist anymore. That's the reality. And I see that up close at Division II. I've seen a Division I. I mean, we've all knew about Alabama Birmingham when they dropped and they came back. Thankfully, they did bring their program back, but I can only imagine what that would be like. And I'm not even going to go there because that's just like a crazy doomsday scenario, but it's clearly something that people will be more vocal about, especially in the day that we're living in now with the pandemic. Clearly, everyone's being affected. Clearly, government entities, schools are going to be hard hit as well, not just private enterprise, which is clearly going to take a little bit of time to get back to normal. But with how the tide is going right now, we really need to just focus. And of course, I'm still sad that there's no season, but the next worst thing would be not having a team. That's just real talk, but also something I never want to imagine, because that would not be something that I could see for me personally, something that I don't know how it's going to be hard enough not going to games in the fall, let alone having to wait a whole year, or hopefully just the spring. And that's something we need to think about as well. So Jeff Hall, he's pal. We wish him the best, and he will be joined soon probably by others there that work at UH. That's just what happens at this time, and it's happening to a lot of us. So UH is no different, but the very existence of the program is what we need to be concerned about. So I would say that now it'd be very creative. I hope the government will also step up. I know it's going to be rough. It's hard to say that because what more can they appropriate at the legislature, I guess, this year? Or how much more will they be willing to give athletics? Probably not very much when they're trying to, save the economy itself in Hawaii. which I believe sports can be a driver for. And something I'm talking about my dad today, actually. I'm going to go out and talk about this, about officiating, just briefly. And we talked about officiating in Hawaii. My uncle was watching. Gary's a longtime official in Hawaii. And I see him grinding. I see him doing a bunch of sports. And I see him underpaid, quite frankly. And people still yelling at him during the game. And, they get threatened. My aunt as well. I mean, that has no place in sports. But if we make sports a focus here in Hawaii, if we pay officials, we treat it as a full-time job for them, and we change the paradigm of how we approach athletics in Hawaii. And that's just one part of it. I think that would be a place to start, and bringing in professional teams. Senator Wakai talked about that. So if you want to go back to my show where I interviewed Senator Wakai, we talked about this. And Jeans Silibio says as well, sports can be an economic driver. Absolutely. Absolutely. Team sports. Sports that we watch. Sports brings people together. Sports brings thousands of people together. Clearly why Hawaii sports fans can't go on any tours right now, because that's what sports does. It brings people together into proximity, closer than 6 feet most of the time. So that's something that for the future, obviously, we want to see more prevalent in the state, I think, is how we approach sports. And the state's going to have to be a huge part of that conversation. How we utilize a new stadium, how UH, what kind of control they have over the stadium, what UH is going to look like. After this, I don't know what UH is going to look like. And by what it looks like, I mean the administration, staffing, the teams. I'm not sure I was going to look it up, the Division I minimum sports. So if somebody in the comments wants to do some searching, you, as a Division I program, NCAA, you have to sponsor a certain amount of sports. So if somebody wants to go check to see, I'm outsourcing my assistants right now, since I'm webmastering and editing. But how many sports do we currently, like Stanford killed all those sports. Stanford is on a different, Stanford, I'm going to say Stanford should just bring the sports back. That's crazy. They have like $30 billion in their endowment or something. Like, they didn't have to cancel all the sports. That's just crazy. But they did that way long ago, so that they just clean their hands of it. And that's another thing. Like, now that we're waiting so long, it just makes things harder. And for the 3 leagues that are still playing, I saw Dabo Swinney made a comment about how they don't care and they're going to have the true national champion or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, that just goes back. I just showed you what I was talking about 3 months ago. And this guy thinks that everything's just going to be totally hunky-dory in, a month or whatever. It's kind of insane. And, and obviously it goes back to how people, Ben J said 16. Thank you. Former University of Hawaii Athletics Director Ben J said 16 sports. So that's how many you have to sponsor. Or that's how many we currently have. So I'm not sure. But as Ben J knows as well, as someone who works in athletics, and someone who works with numbers, it's just simply going to be a difficult transition into this new world, which we don't even know what it looks like yet. I mean, we don't even know when we're going to go back to be able to, get in the stands. So I think we're in a place where I know that the fans are worried, and I mean, I'm kind of worried, just for me alone, just as a fan myself, but also as, someone who works in athletics as well, someone who loves UH like anyone else. It's scary. So we have to be very creative and make it work somehow, because these programs are very special. So I'm going to show a tweet. Let's see all my live editing that I'm doing. But speaking of Jeff Hall, Coach Shoji, the legendary coach of the Wahine volleyball team, had something to say about that as well. So if I can go find his tweet while I'm searching, this is what he had to say, Shoji. He says, I can think of 10 ways for UH to cut expenses rather than let a good man like Jeff Hall go. And, I can think of 10 ways as well. But it might require 100 ways, 1,000 ways. So as much as I agree with Coach Shoji, I also understand where Dave Matlin had to where he's coming from, because this is one of the strings that he knew that he had to pull, and this is, I'm sure in his mind he already knew exactly, prioritize kind of what expenses he can let go of, but this is going to require a new way of thinking and a new way of being able to sustain, really sustenance of the existence of the program is really at stake, I think. And that's taking the stakes high, right? And speaking of Ben J, right, we talked about when he briefly talked about the possibility of football going away and what kind of response that invoked, and that was 8 years ago. So we know that it'll light a fire, hopefully, under people if they hear something like that, and we can't certainly let that happen at the government level. We have to keep them engaged, our local leaders, our elected officials. We have 2 sports figures in Hawaii that are up for mayor, which is pretty cool, I think, just from a sports perspective, because I know sports will be a priority for them, and I know that they see sports the way I see it, as something that can bring people together, not as only as something that potentially can make money for the state, which I believe it can, but it's sports is truly egalitarian to me, right? It feels like we're all the same, and obviously some people have more talent than others and can play basketball better than others, or football, or air hockey, I don't even know, but anything is a sport to us, and we're just into the competition of it, and that's the part, when you're a fan, that's the part that you enjoy, watching that competition, traveling to the competition, being there. So it'll be very interesting. I have this book that I know some of you had saw, The Perfect Season. This is 2007, and I this was in my storage. I'm in this book somewhere in some photo, I'm sure. I got to look through it. But Colt Brennan, obviously the quarterback of that team, but going back to that year and thinking about where we were in the world at that time and how different it was, and it's amazing how you can be somewhere and then be somewhere else, just 10 years later, 13 years later, and it's something that is to me very important, at least as a fan, to understand just what the stakes are. And I think for fans that understand the business side better than some others, because it is a business. The administration at UH and athletics is getting paid. They're getting paid great salaries that a lot of local businesses would love to be able to pay their administration and personnel. So there is money involved, and there is a lot at stake, and it's taxpayer money as well. So that gets a little nerve-wracking, because everyone's going to be talking about where can we cut, where can we, what can we take away from, and education gets ransacked a lot. So we don't know, but Jeff Hall, he's out at UH as a Sand coach, probably going to combine the programs, and I imagine that even with the program kind of having Coach Hamo and Coach Youngquist coaching together, I don't think the program will take much of a drop off. I think a lot of those girls know each other well, and they play with each other. Obviously, they have great chemistry with Coach, and have been able to continue Coach Shoji's legacy in the indoors. So I think I think they'll be fine when it comes to being able to have.
What's up, my fellow Bulls? I know you got the news. You're feeling kinda down, wanna sing the blues, but that's okay, just wipe your tear. The Bulls coming back strong, baby, next year. Haka and Shaka, 8 Island styling. Gonna be back on the field, buck wildin'. We are the Pride Rockers of the Mountain West, and everybody knows that there is no contest. But we had to make sure everybody is safe. The kids, the coaches, the staff, they great. So all my Bulls, please sing with me. and let the world know who we be. The Warriors, oh Warriors, we'll be back with the 8 Island style. Attack Warriors, oh Warriors, we'll be back with the 8 Island style. Attack, we'll be back, y'all. Stay safe. I love y'all, and we're gonna come back stronger next year, baby. Peace.
For all of our teams and go to as many games as I can for all the sports, but just the reason that football and the revenue there alone is obviously a reason why we want to save it as much as possible. No, so that was an interesting tweet. But also I saw an article today, the one in here we go. This was in ESPN, I guess, and it was the heart condition, and this is another reason why the Power 5 schools, I guess, I am not a medical doctor, but myocarditis associated with the heart, not something that is seen, I guess, too often. So now they're seeing how it could be related to the players, and there was the lineman at Wisconsin who was hospitalized as well. So, I mean, still the case is low. I mean, this is not going to happen to everyone. Not everyone is going to, suffer a heart condition. Not everyone is going to, be in ICU, be in a coma. But we know that some have already. So I would be scared if I was a kid, if I was playing college football. I wouldn't just want to jump right in. Like, of course there are kids that want to play, but it's not mutually exclusive to also want to play but understand the risks. That's crazy. Like, there's a lot of things that I want to do that are super risky, and I've done them, like, things that have broken bones and stuff, but that's the risk, and I took it on, and it was a bad idea, but I learned from it. And these players, I'm sure they want to be able to take the risk and be able to play roulette with whatever symptoms they deal with, maybe no symptoms at all, like a lot of people. But also, what's different is if in the absence of a bubble, like we talked about with the NBA, can easily spread or easily contract, easily infect others. So it's really important that we keep in mind that other people surrounding the program, people around the players, are the ones who can also be affected. So no team sports in Hawaii was something that was announced by the governor and the mayor last week as well. So that also was right before training camp. So I'm sure that had something to do with the fact that they suspended training camp even before the word came down from the Mountain West that the season might end, just because it's weird to have, you can't have sports, but if you pass UH Manoa and you see the team practicing, I mean, it doesn't really make sense. So it's just about consistency. And I saw Lieutenant Governor Josh Green on an interview with star advertiser Wayne Coito Show was was talking about a possible 4-week shutdown, and that would be unfortunate, but probably the necessary steps. So I think something like unto what we had in March when they initially closed everything down. So gyms will go back to being closed, but whatever they need to do, because we're still talking about this 4 months later. We thought it was going to be 2 weeks in, and that leads me to probably the worst tweet that I've ever tweeted. Worse because it came true, and I'm sad about it. But it's this one. The sooner we all stay home, the faster we can get out. Don't put football season at risk. And of course, I tweeted that on March 19th. And here we are. Here we are, here we are, here we are, here we are, here we are. Here we are. So, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. I think some people probably thought maybe, even back then, I was like, I heard possibility it could last longer. Looking at some projections into August, it looked like we were kind of getting close. But, I thought everybody would just wear a mask and do simple things. But then again, that's not possible sometimes. So now we're stuck without a football season. Period. I don't want to end on that tweet because that was terrible. But any comments, suggestions? Last time I was able to bring somebody in, I thought. Somebody want to request to try and come in and talk? I don't know. Last time I felt like I could invite people in because I would love to hear from other people as well. I think it's, we've gone to a place now where we clearly have not been able to find the right path for anything. I mean, I'm glad that the NBA is working out. I'm glad that we've been able to at least get that working properly because it's going to be a long time if we have to wait for football season until next year. I just can't. Brad says we still have a season, Wayne, a fan building season. True. Always true. We have a fan building season. So just a good chance. Hawaii Sportsfans, like I said, go leave your drop your email at hisportsfans.com. Like us on different social media platforms. We're gonna have some events. Get a chance for people to meet up. And I want to hold some events actually on Kauai, on Maui, and on the Big Island, Molokai. Who knows? Niihau. I don't know. I really believe in the strength of this entire island chain and all the fans that we have, and I think sometimes we don't talk enough about it, and that's why having Liz Kauai on my show back in June. If you want to go check out that episode, she talked about how on Kauai you have a event there. They're going to sell that out any UH game, and I believe that too. And I would love to see more UH games on Kauai. Maybe not football games, but maybe a football game one day. Who knows? Maybe. But certainly, basketball, volleyball, men's volleyball. I think they had men's volleyball games there, right? So I think it's great to build that fan. So Brad says a fan building season. That's true. So we can build more fans. I'm sure you saw the picture of Brad and I. That's the Brad. And that's funny that I found that photo actually of the two of us in the 1996. So that was a picture I was taken in 1995. That was in the 1996 UH Men's Volleyball media guide. So it was cool. They used to sell that at the front. I don't know, but you see a picture of Brad and I if you go and look at that. So it's pretty fun. But that's what we do. That's what we need to do in times like this is build a fan base, keep it strong. UH is going to definitely need a lot of support. I think the athletics program is going into some uncharted waters, and I'm sure it's not easy, but that's our job. And and now as stewards of the program, they have to keep the program alive. I hate to say it. I hate to put in that grim detail, but we are there. And I think go back and look at my interview with Commissioner Hogue, and we talked about Bob Hogue and just some of these programs are already on very precarious footing, and they don't necessarily, or they can't necessarily survive these type of things, like their whole program. So that's something that's definitely something that's scary. Anybody else said anything? Oh yeah, and Brad says the Yuval Kotz era. So that was the Yuval Kotz era. That was fun. That was before, So I saw some former UH men's volleyball players on Facebook, and it's amazing how well that they've how close they've still been to the program, how close they are from that era, all the teams. But that's something else about the program about athletics in general and what it does for Hawaii is it brings people back to a time. It makes people appreciate certain sports figures who have had impact on the community. And certainly at UH, even for college boys, and college girls and college women and college men, I should say. In college, we don't, in high school we'll say boys and girls, but in college we'll say men and women. But these men and women, young men and women, are certainly role models really to a lot of kids. And a lot of kids, if you look on Instagram, if you look on and now in today's world, you can interact with your players, your athletes, Hawaii sports fans. Not that many people want to interact with us. So, no, that's it. I'm always amazed at how much they appeal to so many parts of this island and so many different people. All the different sports, and that's what's important, and that's what we have to prioritize. Is how, at the end of the day, how many sports the administration can sponsor and fund, and also, because I could probably see some scholarships being lost or throughout the years or waived off. So that'll be a scary thing as well once those things start happening. Oh, Candy has a question. Do athletes lose scholarship funding if the sports are canceled this season? How do we support student athletes stuck without breaking any rules of boosters or sponsorship? So, that's a good question. So, they don't necessarily lose the scholarship funding. I mean, they're guaranteed the scholarship funding, so the school got to pay up. So if you're enrolled in the school, it is year to year. For one thing, there are no, unless the Power 5 has a rule where they can do 4-year scholarships. I know they were talking about that. They're trying to get that passed, but still, at least for UH, it's year to year. Your scholarship can be taken away. They don't have to let you on the team the next year. So, but once you are guaranteed, once you do sign your financial agreement, then you're good for that next year. So UH has to put the money up. So they're on. They have to pay for all these kids' schooling this year and whatever else they promised in their financial aid packages. And as for fans, I believe they did create a fund at UH that you can donate to give them some supplemental revenue income to be able to support the student athletes. But I don't like Venmo kids directly, especially if you're a season ticket holder. If you ever donate to UH, if you are a donor at all, you are a booster, and don't some of these kids have their Cash Apps or Venmos or PayPals on their profiles. Don't give them money unless you tell UH first. So they have a compliance officer at every school, compliance team at UH, compliance team at every school, but you have to, even if the players aren't playing, don't just take them out to dinner or something. That's not something that you can do. But I think it's good that people like Candy, and there are a lot of people who would love to support the team as much as they can, support the athletes. So donating is the best way, I think, donating directly to that fund. So I think it's on the UH website. You can check it out. Okay. Brad says the Pig West or Pac West should sponsor surfing as a sport. They have the geographic locations. Would be cool having team logo rash guards somewhere and even logo surfboards. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I think surfing in a lot of sports, given that the NCAA has started to change, and Gene just posted the Tom Kitaguchi's fund. Yes, definitely donate to that fund, the Warrior Nation fund as well. But back to surfing, given that now athletes will soon be able to probably nationally make money off of their likeness, and that's another part, right? We talked about this, student athletes making money off their likeness, and I mean that should make sense. That should just be something. Like, kids should be able to have a job or do a commercial because they're good at playing basketball or good at tennis and playing college, and somebody has that is something that is. I'm glad, nobody. They shouldn't have, whether if the schools don't want to pay them directly, that's one thing. But for them not even to be able to make money off of being who they are, is something that is changing. And surfing, I think, given the way that sponsorships work in surfing and a lot of those other sports, extreme sports, maybe Red Bull type sports, I think that's where we could possibly see more private donors, more, it's kind of funny. I never thought about some of those bigger donors. I mean, anybody can donate to the team, but corporate sponsors would be kind of huge for surfing, I think, and that'd be kind of cool. But I think so. But the hard part is surfing is adding sports is not going to happen right now. That's the last thing anybody's thinking about because they're cutting sports. So Stanford was the domino way back then, cutting all their 11 sports and cutting men's volleyball. And we still talk about how men's volleyball is, a big sport, especially to people in Hawaii, right? You're just like, what? They cut men's volleyball? Like, what? Like, yeah, it's possible. I mean, think about if you're a UH fan, and you would never think about UH cutting sports, but it's down there. Men's volleyball is always kind of near on the periphery, and it's just the nature of the sport too. So, I hope not to see that, but can't cancel football. At the end of the day, you cannot lose football. Period. Exclamation point. Never. But nonetheless, like Dave Shoji said, we're gonna have to figure out ways to cut expenses, and he can think of 10, but like I said, probably gonna need more than 10. But I can think of a few, to be quite honest. I can think of a few, or 10, or 20, or 25, but it's not my job. So I'm really glad I'm not in a position to have to do that, because it's not an easy thing, but that's the reality of life. We all have jobs. We all have to figure out how we're going to save ourselves and figure out how we're going to be able to justify our salaries, justify what we make. And especially if you're in an industry where, it's just been dead basically for months, like I have, you have to deal with the reality of the situation. You can't run away from it. You have to go in head on. And there's opportunity in that as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity in terms of how we play this, in terms of how we at UH set a course on obviously there's going to be some fiscally having to tighten some strings, but it doesn't mean that's just where everything stops. You can still be excellent in what you have and be the best. And I think UH still has a ways to go in a lot of parts of their department, not just in a lot of ways. Winning, marketing, game day, and that's the reality of the situation, because we just don't have enough people right now to in the fan base to sustain the program just with large pockets that can just keep donating. That's not something that is feasible. So big decisions, but don't lose football. I'm telling you right now, do not lose football. It's going to happen. Not going to be as nice on the show, I think. I don't even know if I'm going to be filming indoors. I'm going to go find somebody to yell at probably if we lose football. But, that is the reality of the situation as well. But when we look back at, how has the rest of the country reacted? Because we said at the beginning of the program, we thought all the dominoes would fall by then. Thought we'd see the SEC would just give in finally and cave, and they haven't. I mean, it sounds like they're even more focused. The ACC sounds pretty focused. Not surprising, the geographic areas that these schools are located in. And by that, I mean just overall attitude and indifference to the virus. Whichever way you are, it's just a difference. And that's hard when we try and do something uniformly. And that's the hardest part, is you can't uniformly be able to institute policy or a start date or general scientific, like leaving it to each conference is a bad idea. Because, and I thought, at least if we left it to Power 5 and Group of 5. So I was like, okay, the Power 5, Group of 5, whatever. But as it stands right now, we still got some Group of 5 people that want to go to. So we have still the SEC on this hand, the Power 5, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 still are saying they're going to play, right? So you still have the Pac-5, Pac-12, and the Big 10 is the only two right now. And then they said that the Big 10 and the MAC kind of have that geographical relationship, and that because the Mountain West and the Pac-12 kind of have that symbiotic West Coast relationship, I guess. So therefore, that's why they've already canceled. But it's also just because in those regions, there's just different leadership, and there's different types of, from the government down. I saw the Mississippi governor basically tweeting today, or was it yesterday, that he was Tate Reeves. Good job at getting rid of the Confederate flag, at least. But clearly he is really, really, really wants to see football being played. And that's the South. That's culturally, like we said, football has cultural value. It's cultural meaning to a lot of people. And I probably regard football way too much for a human being, as a lot of you do. If you really like football, it's like not like it's, we take it real serious. But at the same time, like holistically, I think football can cater to anyone in terms of like the competition, in terms of like the health from playing or being there, or like the travel that we do. I think you learn so much, and you meet so many people. And I posted a video today too on Hawaii Sports News. We posted a little celebration video after the UNLV game, and that was fun to just reminisce, just being in the parking lot and winning a game and running out and getting excited. And that's something that it's going to be a while before we get to do that again. But could be worse. It could be worse. It could be worse. Last time Sean tweeted this, actually, so we'll go find my Sean Iman tweets. I'm just sharing tweets today, I guess. But I feel like these are, kind of sparking some of the conversation. But where's Sean's tweet? Serious question. Is my University of Hawaii consecutive game attendance streak in jeopardy due to COVID? So, no, apparently. Unless they start again with no fans. But I feel like if they're going to start off again, they're just going to have all the fans. Like, I think we're just going to wait till we can be normal. Okay, so spring season does sound really difficult when I say we're going to wait for everything to be normal. So, hopefully, we can have social distancing at least and have a spring season. That would be my optimistic viewpoint right now, is social distancing and spring season that starts in January, or like late January, or like after the Super Bowl. I'm hoping the NFL can get through the whole season. I'm hoping the NFL can do it right, and maybe have fans by the Super Bowl. And you can come with me for our 6th Super Bowl, Super Bowl 55 in Tampa. I can't imagine them doing a Super Bowl without fans. I mean, wow, that would be so weird. Plus, fans pay a lot of money for those. Going to be one of you pretty soon, coming with me, Super Bowl 55, the best Super Bowl tour on the planet. Hawaii sports fans, 5 times already. 5 times we've been to the Super Bowl. Can't wait to do it again. Super Bowl 55 in Tampa. Join us. But yes, now that I can't go to my 61st game in a row, I'm hoping I can wait till January. So that was to respond to Sean's question from last time. Very serious question. Very serious. But no, I mean, it would be hard for me, and I think a lot of people too. Like I have nightmares of not being able to get into a game. So I'm hoping that when season starts over again, we can have fans. Like, at the very least, we can have fans. Much love, Kaveh. So there's our Kaveh key. I'm gonna play his. Kaveh gave us his last verse for a little while. Now that the season is gonna be on pause, so gotta keep up with Kaveh though. I'm sure he's always gonna be entertaining us in some way. Or go follow him, the Boflo. Go follow Kaveh Key. Go friend him. He's such a great guy, and we're lucky in UH. We meet people from all over the country who love UH football. All over the world, really. They're fans in other countries too. So that's a part of all of that. That cultural aspect is there for the fans. You know, it's not just the players on the field. It's the fans too, and it's the fans that, that feel it. They feel it inside. So it's a rough one. But I know you guys will all be able to deal, and I really miss all of you. I hope that we can continue to just make UH football and UH athletics as, I don't know, just take it to the next level. Let's not use this time as fans to just pout about it. I mean, got my tears out already, hopefully all of them, but we have to look to a newer day, a brighter day, and I think I'm positive that it'll be better when it all happens, and we'll be so excited, and I'll cry some more because I'll be finally back in a game. But until then, hear the words of our own Kaveh Key.
What's up, my fellow bows? I know you got What's up, my fellow bows? I know you got the news. You're feeling kinda down, wanna sing the blues, but that's okay, just wipe your tear. The bows coming back strong, baby, next year. Haka and Shaka, 8 Island styling. Gonna be back on the field, buck wildin'. We are the pride rockers of the Mountain West, and everybody knows that there is no contest. But we had to make sure everybody is safe. The kids, the coaches, the staff, they great. So all my bows, please sing with me and let the world know who we be. The Warriors, Bow Warriors, we'll be back with the 8 Island style. Attack Warriors, Bow Warriors, we'll be back with the 8 Island style. Attack. We'll be back, y'all. Stay safe. I love y'all, and we're gonna come back stronger next year, baby. Peace.
All of that. We'll see you on Sunday. Take care. Aloha.